Good morning, philosophers. Hope you are kicking ass today. Let's continue. Number 54. Everywhere, at each moment, you have the option to accept... Okay, look. The number of times I've spilled coffee on myself during these morning readings is getting absurd. One moment. Ugh. Okay. Number 54. Everywhere, at each moment, you have the option to accept this event with humility. Yes, I'm humble. This coffee feels good. It's hot. To treat this person as he should be treated. To approach this thought with care so that nothing irrational creeps in. That's a good one. Everywhere at each moment, you have the option to accept this event with humility, to treat this person as he should be treated, to approach this thought with care so that nothing irrational creeps in. Number 55. Don't pay attention to other people's minds. Look straight ahead, where nature is leading you, nature in general, through the things that happen to you and your own nature, through your own actions. Everything has to do what it was made for, and other things were made for those with logos. In this respect, as in others, lower things exist for the sake of higher ones, and higher things for one another. Now, the main thing we were made for is to work with others. Secondly, to resist our body's urges, because things driven by logos, by thought, have the capacity for detachment. To resist impulses and sensations, both of which are merely corporeal. Thought seeks to be their master, not their subject, and so it should. They were created for its use. And the third thing is to avoid rashness and credulity. The mind that grasps this and steers straight ahead should be able to hold its own. Number 56. Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly. I have to think about that one. Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly. Number 57. To love only what happens, what was destined. No greater harmony. 58. In all that happens, keep before your eyes those who experienced it before you, and felt shock and outrage and resentment at it. And now where are they? Nowhere. Is that what you want to be like? Instead of avoiding all these distracting assaults, leaving the alarms and flight to others, and concentrating on what you can do with it all. Because you can use it. Treat it as raw material. Just pay attention and resolve to live up to your own expectations in everything. And when faced with a choice, remember our business is with things that really matter. 59. Dig deep. The water goodness is down there. And as long as you keep digging, it will keep bubbling up. 59. Dig deep. The water... I'm losing my mind. Number 60. What the body needs is stability. To be impervious to jolts in all it is and does. The cohesiveness and beauty that intelligence lends to the face, that's what the body needs. But it should come without effort. 61. Not a dancer, but a wrestler, waiting, poised, and dug in for sudden assaults. 62. Look at who they really are, the people whose approval you long for, and what their minds are really like. Then you won't blame the ones who make mistakes they can't help, and you won't feel a need for their approval. You will have seen the sources of both, their judgments and their actions. 63. Quote, against our will, our souls are cut off from truth. End quote. Truth, yes, and justice, self-control, kindness. Important to keep this in mind. It will make you more patient with other people. 64. For times when you feel pain, see that it doesn't disgrace you or degrade your intelligence, doesn't keep it from acting rationally or unselfishly. And in most cases, what Epicurus said should help, that pain is neither unbearable nor unending, as long as you keep in mind its limits and don't magnify them in your imagination. And keep in mind, too, that pain often comes in disguise. as drowsiness, fever, loss of appetite. When you're bothered by things like that, remind yourself, I'm giving into pain. 65. Take care that you don't treat inhumanity as it treats human beings. 66. How do we know that Telogs wasn't a better man than Socrates? It's not enough to ask whether Socrates' death was nobler, whether he debated with the sophists more adeptly, whether he showed greater endurance by spending the night out in the cold, and when he was ordered to arrest the man from Salamis, decided it was preferable to refuse and swaggered about the streets, which one could reasonably doubt. What matters is what kind of soul he had, whether he was satisfied to treat men with justice and the gods with reverence, and didn't lose his temper unpredictably at evil done by others, didn't make himself the slave of other people's ignorance, didn't treat anything that nature did as abnormal or put up with it as an unbearable imposition, didn't put his mind in his body's keeping. Number 67. Nature did not blend things so inextricably that you can't draw your own boundaries. Place your own well-being in your own hands. It's quite possible to be a good man without anyone realizing it. Remember that. And this, too, you don't need much to live happily. And just because you've abandoned your hopes of becoming a great thinker or scientist, don't give up on attaining freedom, achieving humility, serving others, obeying God. 68. To live life in peace, immune to all compulsion. Let them scream whatever they want. Let animals dismember the soft flesh that covers you. How would any of that stop you from keeping your mind calm, reliably sizing up what's around you and ready to make good use of whatever happens? So that judgment can look the event in the eye and say, quote, this is what you really are, regardless of what you may look like. While adaptability adds, you're just what I was looking for. Because to me, the present is a chance for the exercise of rational virtue, civic virtue. In short, the art that men share with gods. Both treat whatever happens as wholly natural, not novel or hard to deal with, but familiar and easily handled. 69. Perfection of character. To live your last day, every day, without frenzy or sloth or pretense. 70. The gods live forever, and yet they don't seem annoyed at having to put up with human beings and their behavior throughout eternity. And not only put up with, but actively care for them. And you, on the verge of death, you still refuse to care for them, although you're one of them yourself. 71. It's silly to try to escape other people's faults. They are inescapable. Just try to escape your own. 72. Whenever the force that makes us rational and social encounters something that is neither, then it can reasonably regard it as inferior. Whenever the force that makes us rational and social encounters something that is neither, then it can reasonably regard it as inferior. Yeah? Yeah. I'm going to highlight that and think about that later. And this goes right into the distinction of what are rights and who gets them, right? 73. You've given aid, and they've received it. And yet, like an idiot, you keep holding out for more. To be credited with a good deed. To be repaid in kind. Why? Number 74. No one objects to what is useful to him. To be of use to others is natural. Then don't object to what is useful to you, being of use. 75. Nature willed the creation of the world. Either all that exists follows logically, or even those things to which the world's intelligence most directs its will are completely random, a source of serenity in more situations than one. Okay, Book 8. Number 1. Another encouragement to humility. You can't claim to have lived your life as a philosopher, not even your whole adulthood. You can see for yourself how far you are from philosophy, and so can many others. You're tainted. It's not so easy now to have a reputation as a philosopher, and your position is an obstacle as well. So you know how things stand. Now forget what they think of you. Be satisfied if you can live the rest of your life, however short, as your nature demands. Focus on that and don't let anything distract you. You've wandered all over and finally realized that you never found what you were after, how to live. Not in syllogisms, not in money or fame or self-indulgence, nowhere. Then where is it to be found? In doing what human nature requires. How? Through first principles, which should govern your intentions and your actions. What principles? Those to do with good and evil, that nothing is good except what leads to fairness and self-control and courage and free will, and nothing bad except what does the opposite. Number 2. For every action, ask, how does it affect me? Could I change my mind about it? But soon I'll be dead and the slate's empty, so this is the only question. Is it the action of a responsible being, part of society and subject to the same decrees as God? Number 3. Alexander and Caesar and Pompey. Compared with Diogenes, Heraclitus, Socrates, the philosophers knew the what, the why, the how. Their minds were their own. The others, nothing but anxiety and enslavement. Number 4. You can hold your breath until you turn blue, but they'll still go on doing it. 5. The first step, don't be anxious. Nature controls it all, and before long you'll be no one, nowhere, like Hadrian, like Augustus. The second step, concentrate on what you have to do. Fix your eyes on it. Remind yourself that your task is to be a good human being. Remind yourself what nature demands of people. Then do it without hesitation, and speak the truth as you see it, but with kindness, with humility, without hypocrisy. 6. Nature's job, to shift things elsewhere, to transform them, to pick them up and move them from here and there. Constant alteration. But not to worry, there's nothing new here. Everything is familiar. Even the proportions are unchanged. 7. Nature of any kind thrives on forward progress, and progress for a rational mind means not accepting falsehood or uncertainty in its perceptions, making unselfish actions its only aim, seeking and shunning only the things it has control over, embracing what nature demands of it, the nature in which it participates, as the leaf's nature does in the trees, except that the nature shared by the leaf is without consciousness or reason, and subject to impediments, whereas that shared by human beings is without impediments and rational and just, since it allots to each and every thing an equal and proportionate share of time, being, purpose, action, chance. Examine it closely, not whether they're identical point by point, but in the aggregate, this weighted against that. 8. No time for reading. For controlling your arrogance, yes. For overcoming pain and pleasure, yes. For outgrowing ambition, yes. For not feeling anger at stupid, unpleasant people, even for caring about them. For that, yes. 9. Don't be overheard complaining about life at court, not even to yourself. 10. Remorse is annoyance at yourself for having passed up something that's to your benefit. But if it's to your benefit, it must be good, something a truly good person would be concerned about. But no truly good person would feel remorse at passing up pleasure, so it cannot be to your benefit or good. 11. What is this fundamentally? What is its nature and substance, its reason for being? What is it doing in the world? How long is it here for? 12. When you have trouble getting out of bed in the morning, remember that your defining characteristic, what defines a human being, is to work with others. Even animals know how to sleep, and it's the characteristic activity that's the more natural one, more innate and more satisfying. 13. Apply them constantly to everything that happens. Physics, ethics, logic. 14. When you have to deal with someone, ask yourself, what does he mean by good and bad? If he thinks X or Y about pleasure and pain and what produces them, about fame and disgrace, about death and life, then it shouldn't shock or surprise you when he does X or Y. In fact, I'll remind myself that he has no real choice. All right. You're hauling ass through that book now. Welcome to May the 1st, 2021. You have survived. You survived April. Good job. Hopefully you kicked ass in April. Hopefully you thrived in April. Hopefully you accomplished your goals in April. I know I did. April was a really good month for me. Looking back on my goals for the month, I did really good on my habits. I completed a lot of hard things. I still have not yet conquered the notification bells going off everywhere. And man, I really conquered the procrastination beast last month. A lot of good things happened last month. The Controlled Demolition of the American Empire book is out. That was another good thing I got to add to my list. So, welcome to May 1st. Today is the day we ask ourselves. We have a month ahead of us. Assuming we survive the month, what are our goals for the month? What is our plan for the month? What is our theme for the month? What do I want out of life during the month of May? What do I want to accomplish in the month of May? What about myself do I want to improve by the end of the month of May? At the end of the month of May, when I look back on the month, what do I want to be proud about myself for having accomplished or improved about myself? These are the things that need to be thought about today. You got a month ahead of you. How are you going to use it? Assuming you survive it. Because remember, you could die at any time. So, are you going to be proud of how you spent your month of May? Are you proud of how you spent April? What did you accomplish? Did you complete your goals? Are you proud of it? If you had it to do over again, would you have done it the same way? Or would you have changed something? Hold yourself accountable for the time that you spent and figure out what you can change in the month of May to do better next time. Guys, have a great day. Let's kick ass in the month of May. I think we're coming up on a full month of doing these daily videos. So I'm starting to get ready. I'm getting close to, I need to look up the actual day. I'm getting close to the decision point on whether I keep streaming these or not. You guys can let me know if you think I should. All right, guys, have a great day.